Hey guys, welcome back to Say Mojo Homestead. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I want to show you the grill that we have and what we think about it and whether or not it's a good fit for you. So if you are new with us and just finding this video because of this grill review, welcome. We homestead on a little under 2 acres. We have about 5 acres out here, but we try to raise most of the food that we grow and do a pretty good job of it. We only rely on the grocery store for about 20% of the things that we consume. And some of that is just convenience items. So the food that we raise on a regular basis out here is pork, chicken, occasionally we'll do rabbits, and then our garden. We also have goats, but those are only for dairy products. So today I'm going to be doing pork ribs on this Z-Grill pellet grill. So if you don't know what a pellet grill is, basically it's a smoker and grill in one. So typically you're gonna have a hopper like this one, and you put your pellets, wood pellets, down in there. It feeds it in at whatever rate you set it to, and it will either slowly burn them and create a nice smoke, or you can get this thing up pretty hot, up to like 450 degrees. The inside of it is going to be pretty much your traditional grill look. You got the main grate down here, you got a warming grate up top, and a grease tray. The biggest thing that sets it apart is the heating unit in there. So we're going to take this thing apart and I'm going to show you. So everything comes out really nice. Nothing really clicks into place, which I actually like. So you got your grate. The grease pan, which admittedly I need to clean up a little bit. And that just slides right out. And then you have your heat buffer right here, which evenly distributes the heat and blocks it from just having direct heat come up. You always want to make sure that that is on. Then you have your feeding chamber through here, and your blower is in here as well. So the pellets will actually be fed through here, drop into here, and you've got a heating unit in there that ignites them. So the biggest thing with this grill is you got to keep that cleaned out from all of the ash that will build up in there. Now with the blower going, it does blow out some of that thinner ash, but it will get some buildup, and you want to stay on top of that. If you don't, ultimately it could cause some major problems. But the more common issues are going to be uneven heating and trouble igniting those pellets or keeping them lit, especially if that heating coil gets buried with it. Now you can just use a shop vac to suck this stuff out. Obviously, make sure it's cool. You don't want to be sucking any hot coals or ash up into a shop vac and causing a lot of problems. The other thing, if you can see, all this ash that's down here, that's what's blown out. You want to keep that cleaned up too. Now, last time I used this, it was going for a while because we were smoking something. So there was a lot of accumulation in there. So I'm going to get this cleaned up, put it back together, and we'll go through the steps on how easy it is to get this thing started and use it. Also, later on in this video, I'm going to be talking about the versatility and all the things that you can do with the pellet grill and how it's saved us in some times of need. All right, guys, got to put back together, and you notice there's tinfoil down. We always cover that drip with a tinfoil just because it makes cleanup a lot easier. We're ready to start it. Super easy. One thing with this, it is electric, so you've got to have it next to an outdoor outlet, but turn it on. Turn that knob once to the smoke setting, and that is where you want to leave it until you start seeing white smoke come up from the grill, and then you can turn it to whatever temperature you want to set it to. So this right here is going to tell you what it is set to. It's S right now for smoke. These are your meat thermometers that are going to, they're going to read the temperature of the meat. This one's actually broken, so ignore that one. And then this is going to be your actual temperature in the grill. So this thing does do a really good job of keeping it within 5 degrees plus or minus of whatever you have it set to. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about this brand is the accuracy of the temperature and the ability to be able to hold it at that temperature for long periods of time. while we are waiting on this to get ignited, I wanted to talk about the sizes. There are a couple of different size options. Honestly, guys, I've had this for about a year and a half now and don't remember the model that this one is, but I would say that the grate across here is probably about 30 inches, and then you've got a good 18 inches deep. It has held everything that we need it to, even our extra large turkey, which is another protein that we do out here. We had a 30-pound turkey that I did on this smoker for Thanksgiving, and it fit. I will say, it barely fit. The lid was just barely able to close, and the top of the turkey was kind of touching up here, but it still cooked beautifully in the amount of time it was supposed to, and turned out amazing. All right, so it's been about 45 seconds, and you can see that smoke starting to come up right here. So I'm gonna shut this lid and let it kind of start to preheat. Now, we are doing ribs, and I'm going to actually leave it at this smoke setting, which is really a very low temperature. It's just optimizing the amount of smoke that you can get out of it. So I'm going to do that for the first hour, let that flavor really get in there. And then for the last 2 hours of that first 3-hour set of cooking these things, I will crank it up to about 225, 200, somewhere in there to let it go. Finish it off at maybe a little bit higher temperature, depending on where we're at with those ribs and the doneness for that last hour. So I'm going to go get those ribs ready while this thing preheats. When I get them put on, we'll come back and talk about all the other things that you can do in this grill and the ways you can use it. Also, some pros and cons. There are some cons with this that I haven't been super thrilled with, but we'll cover that soon. Okay, guys, I got the ribs. Check those out. There is nothing like homegrown pork ribs for the grill. So we are up to 195. The seasonings I got on here are some of our homemade chili powder, our homemade onion powder, which is actually that green. We use the onion greens for that. Some salt, pepper, cumin, just a little bit. And what else did I put on there? Oh, turmeric powder. We love putting turmeric on just about everything. So I'm going to put those on there and let them ride. While those are on there, let's talk about everything else that we can do with this. And excuse my messy hands, I'll go in as soon as I'm done and wash them. So this has come in handy in so many ways. Obviously, you can grill on it, you can smoke on it. The one thing that I really like, and the one way that it has saved us, is you can also bake in it. So we had our oven go out actually over Christmas, and it was out for about a month before we could get to it, get the parts fixed, everything involved with that. Well, we do a lot of baking, especially around the holidays, and even with bread and stuff like that. So when we needed it, we use this grill. You just set it at whatever temperature that the recipe calls for, put it in there, and bake it. Now, I was expecting to have a little bit of smoky flavor, and actually was kind of hoping to have a little bit of that grill flavor come through. It didn't. Our bread really didn't have any of that flavor in it, but it turned out perfect. It did the job. You could do pies in here, cake. I don't think we ended up doing a cake. We debated it, but I'm sure that you could do it and it would be fine. And anything else that you would do in an oven. So that part of it, I absolutely love. But let's talk about what I haven't been too thrilled with on this thing. The grilling aspect of it, you're going to get a grill, but I have found that it is very hard because there's no direct heat to get a good char on something. So if you're wanting like a good char on your burgers or steaks or something like that, you're not going to get that, even at the highest setting. I would definitely say that it needs to be at the highest setting for those things, just to kind of cook them up and get a little bit of a crust on there, but you're not going to get that traditional grill char on it because of that heat plate that distributes everything evenly, and the fact that you got a blower that's blowing on that heat. It's almost acting as a convection type cooker in there, and so you're getting a lot of really even heat, which in most cases is really good. But again, for that char, you're not going to get it on this grill. At least I have not found a way to do that. I have found that customer service has been mediocre. They were great at getting back to us. The reason I had to contact them is when we got this grill, it actually showed up with a little bit of a defect on the lid. It's bent right here, and so it doesn't close down quite all the way. I have not found that to be a problem. Again, it can still maintain that heat. You're probably going to have a little bit more accuracy if you don't have a defective grill. The best that they could do was just offer us some free pellets. I think it was like 2 bags or something like that. They were not going to take it back. That part of it was a little bit frustrating, but they were great to work with, very kind, very nice, and seemed genuinely concerned. So there is that. I'm going to give them like a 5 out of 10 on customer service, because I wish that they had handled it a little bit better, but the knowledge was there, and I was pleased with that. Some other pros though with it: putting it together, super easy. If you can follow directions and know how to use tools, you can put this thing together, and it goes together fairly quickly. There is a rotisserie option on some of these. Don't remember if this model has it. I mean, we don't really do a lot of rotisserie, so that's not that big of a deal. But if you're interested in that, that is an option with these grills. Just look at the model and make sure that it's going to be compatible with that and have that capability. The last thing is, this thing's pretty affordable. It's not going to be your cheapest one out there on the market, but it's not going to be the most expensive either. It's a little bit below the Traeger price mark, but everything that I found with it has worked just as well as the Traegers that our friends have. I have not noticed any difference. It is definitely worth the money, especially if you like to go more of that midline level. I mean, if you're using this just for home entertainment and stuff like that, even a small food side business, this thing would work great for you. You don't need to spend any more money than these things cost. Other than that, I mean, I think that's about it. It's really easy to use. I love it. You basically set it and forget it. You can walk away. I mean, I've done slow cook stuff on here, and we've been gone for the whole day, come back, and it is perfect and ready to eat. I do like that about it. You don't have to monitor it. It is hands off. The food cooks great too. As soon as these things are done, I'll throw in the clip at the very end of this video for you to see it. But meanwhile, I'm gonna go get back to our other homesteading stuff and chores. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was beneficial. If you've got any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below. We will get back to you on those things. Give it a thumbs up if you found this helpful. As we always say at the end of these videos, have a great week and be blessed.